How's it going, everybody? Today I have potentially the most must-have build in anyone's team. I'm targeting this towards day one raid teams more specifically. Trust me, you're gonna want to hear this one out. Getting into it, this is a War Mind Cell build that can be for any class, but only hunters can bring the most out for this one. This is a Void War Mind Cell build, and unlike my previous War Mind Cell build, this one you actually want to run the Void subclass on. Now for our mods, I'ma save the best for last. So, starting us off, we have Global Reach. Now, as we all know, Global Reach will expand our War Mind Cell radius from 6 meters to 10 meters. Basic, bare bones, but necessity all in one. Next, we have Grasp of the War Mind. This will allow you to pick up any War Mind Cell and throw them, whether being on an enemy or just in an area where it could be more of use to you. This mod does bring a lot of freedom to the build, eases any tension you might have when it comes to making the use of all of your War Mind Cells, and it comes in handy for everything we have next. And what we have next are two mods. The reason I'm listing these together is because for this build, personally, I would prefer you to run only one of these, for you will need room for the later, more goated mods. First up, as choice A, is Cellular Suppression. This mod is a defensive mod that will act as blinding nades would. You just tap the War Mind Cell and it shoots out a burst of suppressive energy that keeps enemies off your back. This mod does not work on bosses, of course, so if you're looking for a mod with more coverage with enemies, I give you choice B, War Mind's Protection. This mod is my personal choice of the two, for the best reason being that it reduces every enemy's damage by half, as long as they're in the radius of the War Mind Cell. And I'll remind you all that if you have Grasp of the War Mind, you can stick these cells to enemies. So if you're running this with tier 10 resilience, you have a 90% damage resistance. My brother in Christ, you are the raid boss. Ads and champs will need to set up the DPS loadouts just to take you out. Now with all that said and done, time for the other goated part. Our last mod to run with this build is Power of Rasputin. Now fellas, I really need your ears on this one because this is the highest debuff that exists in the game. How much is Power of Rasputin's debuff, you ask? Only 10%.
I know that sounds bad.
But the best part about this is that it's the only debuff that stacks. Your grenade only applying 15% debuff now is 25%. Your tether during a boss phase only doing 30% now is apparently 42%. 43 if you round up. This is the best source of just adding more to your debuffs. Never before have we ever reached debuffs at this level. Then, after debuffing the enemy, play the opposite. Hunters running Tether and Power of Rasputin have a Warlock with a Well, buffing yourself by 30%. If someone is running Lumina, then that's 35%. Overall, increasing your damage by a whole 78%. And to make sure that the cell is there during the whole damage phase, slap on War Mind's Longevity. This will increase the lifespan of a War Mind cell, and by a considerable amount. It's crazy we haven't been using this stuff. Now dialing it back down, because we do still have a build to get to. Moving on to our weapons. Other than the previous weapons that I've listed in my other video, being the Ikilos family, I was reminded in the comments section that the 7th Seraph Officer Revolver and the 7th Seraph Carbine do still exist. You just have to go run the dungeon Spire of the Watcher for them. Now, as a side note, if the thought occurred to you that maybe it would be tricky to get a perfectly timed War Mind cell to spawn, trust me, there is no shortage as long as you're running the proper weapons. As a bonus note, if you run Wither Horde by placing the pool on the ground or by sticking it on an enemy, if you switch to the War Mind Cell spawning weapon before Wither Horde kills the enemy, for me that would be the Ikilos SMG, it will count as the SMG kill and spawn a War Mind Cell in result. Okay, now I'm done. I hope this build thoroughly impressed you guys. For doing the research, it definitely impressed me. If you have enjoyed, drop a quick like and possibly a sub if you can. If you want to see any more videos of mine, they will be listed for you on screen. And have yourself a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.